All right, welcome back to Tribal Talks Cybersecurity Unlocked. We're excited to be launching one-off episodes of our popular podcast for special guests, bringing powerful conversations. I'm your host, Jerad Swimmer, Regional Sales Director at Continent 8, and I'm thrilled to kick off this new chapter with none other than Justin Barrett, President, co-founder of the Tribal Leadership Council, true champion of tribal sovereignty and digital innovation, and most importantly, good friend of mine. Known Justin for quite some time. So I'm glad to have you here today. And on a personal note, I'm honored to share that I've recently been appointed as an advisor to the TLC, Tribal Leadership Council. And so thank you, Justin, to you and your board. And it's a privilege to support the council's mission and work alongside leaders just like you and your board so that we can help strengthen cybersecurity across tribal nations. So, Justin, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Jared. It's great to be here, and congratulations on your appointment to the advisory board. We're excited to have your expertise and energy as part of the TLC organization.
Well, thank you, brother. That means a lot to me. Seriously, it means a lot. So I'm really excited to be bringing my experience in technology and cybersecurity to the council. Cybersecurity continues to be a major concern across the Indian country, and it's something TLC is that something that TLC is witnessing across the country with tribes.
You know, Jared.
And yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying, and what else do you see most pressing? What most pressing threats are facing all of the tribal organizations today? What are you guys seeing?
You know, I mean, cybersecurity is a threat to, tribal nations or enterprises, especially our gaming enterprises. And we know that. We've been talking about that for several years now. One of the other, issues that tribes have to deal with now is funding, especially federal funding levels. Our grants, what's being rescinded, and how do we respond to that, and how do we utilize, our tribal dollars to continue those projects. A couple of the priorities that TLC has right now is our tribal governance professional certification, where we talk about, integrating AI and other systems into our tribal operations, and what does that look like? And then, we're going to continue to talk about these topics at our conferences and our training programs as we build them out.
So is that something that is that kind of a heavily focused area right now, wrapping up the 2025, going into 2026, what you just said?
Yeah, so we have our tribal governance professional certification, in December, and so that's where we'll talk about AI along with other things, crisis management, how do you respond as a tribal leader, different things, all the hats that tribal leaders are expected to wear, and then we're already building out our 2026 program for our conference, so we'll have topics about cybersecurity, AI. We'll actually be offering a micro credential from the College of Muskogee Nation in AI for tribal leadership at the conference this year.
Very nice. All right. Are there any emerging trends or technologies that tribal entities should be paying close attention to?
As far as trends and technologies, I think, I think you see a trend now where tribes are getting more aware of the cyber threat, right, and understanding the risk and the exposure that they have with their businesses, and their tribal government, right? So I think you see a trend where tribes are actually, engaging in this topic more, and how do we protect ourselves and our sovereignty.
Very nice, very nice. So from your perspective, and you just spoke on a little bit about how aware are tribal council decision makers of the growing cyber threat landscape? Is the awareness improving? Is that something that they're doing on their own, or are they looking for organizations like yours or even Continent 8 to keep them up to date, or is that something they're doing on their own?
A lot of this usually is driven at the enterprise level or the property level, right? But when you're talking about funding, right, and how do you protect the tribe's assets, obviously that usually is a conversation with the tribal council as far as budgeting goes. And so I think you see more tribal councils becoming more aware of the need to invest in their security, but also understanding the risk, right? So take a holistic approach to it, not just, we need the minimum amount of insurance we need. But if you actually do have, a cyber incident, are you insured enough to be down?
Right.
And can you afford it? Or do you need to look about buy more insurance? Do you have enough tools in your bag to manage this? And if not, do you have a provider like Continent or someone else that can be a tool and an asset in this situation, to help prevent it for one, but also to get you back up and running?
Yeah. Nice. So finally, what advice would you give to tribal organizations looking to strengthen their cybersecurity posture, especially those that are just beginning their digital transformation journey?
I think my advice would be don't rely just on your, in-house IT team, especially if it's a small one, right? Like,
Hmm.
one or two people isn't enough in the IT space, to make sure you have 24/7 coverage, especially if they're not trained in cyber. So I would really advise like taking a holistic approach, understanding your risk, your exposure, um, and you know, depending on your budget, get out there and get tools and resources and providers that can help protect you.
Very well said. Very well said. Yeah, I know since I've been out there and traveling around the U.S., it is the biggest blocker for tribes is that budget, is what
Hmm.
they can spend and what they're allowed to spend. Because, let's face it, nobody wants to buy security. Nobody wants to buy it until they need it. So that, unfortunately, that's kind of the trend I see is that people
Hmm.
wait till there's something catastrophic that happens before they like, now we got to go do it. But you know, kind of the same way we approach raising our kids. We all
Hmm.
want to raise them different than better than what we were raised, not different, but better. So that we're more aware and making them more aware of when our daughters go out into the world, we want to make sure that they know how to watch and look around and what to see
Hmm.
and take notes in their head and all that. So, that's kind of way it is that I've been seeing the trend in tribal country is, I think everybody knows what they've got to do and knows what
Right.
they need. It's just that handcuff
It's
of that
just
that budget.
deploying it, right?
Right.
But it's, from a budgetary standpoint, is it worth the risk and the exposure to have an incident and then lose all that revenue, especially if it's a gaming enterprise? Like, how much revenue did that cost you versus spending, you know, a little bit more money now to prevent it?
Yeah.
And I think that's the risk perspective. Like, and take a risk-based approach to your view of this. And can you afford to have an incident? And how long is it going to take you to recover from it?
Right. The bigger tribes, the bigger casinos, they can handle that and swing at those balls when they come to them. But for the smaller tribes, it's very crippling because it can not just
Mhm.
shut down the casino, it can shut down the health department, the fire department, all the
Enrollment,
enterprises. Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Justin, why don't you tell us before we close here, why don't you tell us what's coming up on the horizon, what conferences, where they're at, what time of year, and all that so people can get ready for that.
Ooh, so the next conference I can think of would be the Western Indian Gaming Conference. So CNIGA hosts that, the California Indian Nations Gaming
Hmm.
Association. That's in February. In March, you have the Reservation Economic Summit in Res at Las Vegas at Caesars. In conjunction with Res, TLC host our um, annual golf tournament to raise money for our foundation, and we're providing scholarships through the foundation for tribal leaders from tribes who don't have gaming enterprises that can fund their tribal budgets to attend Res. So we'll cover the registration cost. We are also doing our gala with the National Native American Human Resources Association and the National Native American Hall of Fame during Res, as well as our
Nice.
reception Monday night. Um, you have Indian Gaming coming up in Q1 next year in San Diego, so that's going to be great. It's always a good time in San Diego.
And then your
And then
big one
our
is in
conf,
June.
yep. And then our conference, the tribal leadership conference, will be in June. And then in May, you have the Women in Tribal Gaming Symposium, and Nahara is partnering with them as well to do a women's symposium at Gila River.
Okay. And then yours will be at Gila River as well there in June, TLC.
Correct.
Right. Well, good. So everybody mark your calendars. He just gave you a whole list of events that you can go and attend and learn and network. And, I'll try to be at most of them, and we can talk about your cybersecurity posture. So thank you so much, Justin, for joining us. Your leadership and insights are helping shape a more secure and sovereign future for tribal nations, and we applaud you for that, you and your board and your staff. Justin also sits as a gaming commissioner for the Wichita affiliated tribes here in Oklahoma. So congratulations on that new appointment. And thank you, Justin, for being with us. It's
Yeah,
been a
thank you,
pleasure, and
Jared.
look forward to this coming out, people seeing it, and then also we'll probably do another one and follow up at the end of the year after we've got some traction underneath us. So thank you for coming. And
Thank you for having me, Jared.
yeah, to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. If you'd like to learn more about Continent 8 cybersecurity solutions tailored for tribal organizations and trusted by the likes of Tachi Palace Casino, Cherokee Tribal Gaming Commission, and Kashada Casino, so forth and so forth, please visit continent8.com or C8 Secure, or reach out to us at sales@continent8.com. Stay safe, stay secure, and we'll see you next time on Tribal Talks. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, Jared.
Yeah, thank you.